Chevra, Aryeh showed me a Torah this week that I haven't stopped thinking about from the Maggid of Mezeritch, so I wanna sing a Niggun of the Maggid. And Dan's here, and I sing it with Dan at least a few times a year, so this is a very good one. Oy, ay, ay, da dam bam 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 ba da dam ba. Ay, 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 da dam la la. Ay, 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 da dam bam 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 ba da. Ay, 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 ba dam bam ba. La 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 la. Ay, ay, la la la. Ay, ay, la la ba. Ba dam bam bam ba yam bam bam ba. Ay, 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 ba dam bam bam ba. Ay, 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 ba dam bam ba. Ay, ay, ba dam bam bam ba. Ay, ay, ba dam bam ba. Ay, bam 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 bam. Bam 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 bam. Ay, 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 bam bam. Bam 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 bam. Ay, ay, ay. Hey, ay, 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 bam bam bam. Ay, 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 bam bam bam. Ay, 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 bam bam bam. Bam 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 bam. Bam 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 bam. Bam bam bam. Bam 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 bam. Bam bam bam. Ay, 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 bam bam bam. 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 Bam 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 bam. Bam 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 bam. Bam bam bam. Ay, la la la. Bam bam bam. Ay, 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 ay. Okay. All right, I got a request right before Shir, to dedicate the learning, aside from the other stuff, is to do it Leilui Nishmas Itka Leah Bas Shlomo. Today's our yard site. As well, we continue to learn Leilui Nishmas Levi ben Yosef Bas Yefega Bas Yisrael, Yishaya Sholem ben Yitzchak Isaac, Levi Yitzchak ben Yerucham Hanan Zalman, and for the Shmira, for all of our Chayalim HaKadoshim, and the Refuah Shleim of our Chayalim, David Nisanel ben Ayala Ahuva, Tov Shmuel ben Avi Anava, Avraham ben Yaakov Dvorah Fega. The week was sponsored by Dalia Orlev, memory of his sister, Hachana, Bas, Sarah Vishmuel Levi, and Michael and Cindy Levy, in honor of the bat mitzvah of their granddaughter, Ayala Eisenstock. Mazel tov Dani and Lisa also. Today is sponsored by Helena and Hershey Orenstein, the Refuah Shlema of their precious son, our dear brother, David Yeshua ben Chana. Shav Refuah Shlema, B'ezrat Hashem. Okay, so the Sefer, in the Sefer that you have, this one, so we finished the Sefer. I forgot to tell you last week. We actually finished the Sefer. Mazel Tov. And there's one, we're going to start a new Sefer next week, but there was one teaching in there, in this Sefer, on the Be'er, what's it called? Be'er Chaim?
Be'er
Chaim on Zachor, which we had done already. So I went into the archives of Rav Biderman to find something chazak that could get us really strong into grabbing onto an inyan of Parashat Zachor. And I found a piece from years ago that he gave over in Parashat Ki Tetzeh. Beautiful piece. I realized I don't think I printed enough. So if everyone could share, and it's not so long, but it's very meduyak. We're going into the Zman. It's almost like I feel the Shabbos before Rosh Hashanah, that you already can sense that you've entered into a new ocean in the Zman that demands of us, so much more. And that's why I just want to ask all the chevra this Shabbos, even if you're not here, even if you're in Beit Shemesh or wherever you would be, like we all have to lift it up a notch. We always have to, but this Shabbos specifically, Shabbos Zachor, there's never been a Shabbos Zachor like this ever. There's never been a Shabbos Zachor like this since the Shabbos of when Purim took place. It's so surreal. It is so surreal. It's too big for us to understand, because it's like Hanan refers to Hashem sometimes as like the most insane Tarantino. He says, Pashut tasritai hazui, meaning like, how do you say tasritai? A scripter. Like there's the script. The script is, and dvarim this script. None of us could have ever, in our most wildest imaginations, ever have put this together. The script is beyond, and we're in it. We're all not just pawns in it. We're active people in this script right now. And there's a hazmana, there's an invitation, Erev Shabbos Zachor, to say, don't be shocked that Geula is around the corner. Don't be shocked about the fact that this script is so meduyak. It's so meduyak, which is exactly what Amalek has tried to fight against, to actually put a suffix into us regarding what? That Hashem exists? Not so much. But that there's actually a script is what Amalek's whole avodah has been from day one. That there's actually a script going on. Amalek never attacks you on the level of does God exist or not. He only has an entry when we start asking that question. Because in Parashat Beshalach, when we first meet Amalek, the pasuk says, Hayesh Hashem bekirbeinu im ayin. That's what the pasuk says. Like we're wondering, so we know God exists, but does it have anything shaychus to us? Then the next pasuk, Vayavo Amalek vaylachem Yisrael b'Refidim. Chazal say, why dafka did they fight us in a place called Refidim? Sherafu yedeim midivrei Torah. We got weak with the sense of that there's a script, that we're part of it. This is what it is. Now in today's piece, Rav Biderman has a diuk on two of the words that we say from Parashat Zachor that is in Ki Tetzeh. Amalek shows up twice in the Torah as a fight, Bishalach and Ki Tetzeh. What do we read from tomorrow in Parashat Zachor? Bishalach or Ki Tetzeh? Ki Tetzeh. There's a lot of differences between the two. It's the same enemy, but the diuk lashon is amazing what Chazal do with the diukei lashonos, which we'll speak about over Shabbos as well. The difference between how it says something in Bishalach, how it says something in Ki Tetzeh, and why dafka when it comes to Shabbos Zachor, for Purim we go to Ki Tetzeh. So look what he says here. The Parashatan, because this is about Parashat Ki Tetzeh, he says in our Parashat it says, Zachor es asher asalacha Amalek, Baderech b'tetzim Mitzrayim, Asher Karcha Baderech. We spoke about this more on Wednesday. Now this is al panav, on the surface, this seems like a very simple Torah. Dafka, the ones that are so simple that you understand so clearly are the ones that get missed so fast because we think we understand it so clearly. Yadua mipi Sfarim v'Sofrim ki zoi klipaso shel Amalek. The klip of Amalek is merumaz b'shmai Amalek b'gematria sofek lekarer es ha'ambatia harutachas, to cool off the hot bath, the steaming bath. ulitzanen, and to cool you off. Ulitzanen es emunasam b'Hashem, to cool off your emunah in Hashem, al yedei hasfeikus liminehem, regarding all types of sveikus. Not so much does God exist, but more the suffix that came out in Bishalach. God exists. The question is, hayesh Hashem bekirbeinu im ayin. It's not such a fight about does God exist or not. The shaila is, does it really have any shaychus to me? This last week I came across a number of very disturbing articles written by people that I love that are speaking about the notion of it's time to put aside the whole frenzy over seeing Hashem and everything, God in the pratim. You know, and they're obviously, their ammunition is always the Rambam, the way that they understand the Rambam, which of course it does make things a little bit complicated. But this concept of Hashgacha Pratis is really what the Amalek's dinyan is. Hashgacha Klalis, I'm not trying to give Amalek kav schus that they believe in Hashgacha Klalis, but the fight is more Hayesh Hashem bekirbeinu im ayin, meaning the fact that you chose to sit next to the person that you chose right now, or that you're wearing what you're wearing right now with the stain or without the stain, or whatever it is the Rebbeinu Shalom involved in those pratim. The moment I say those things aren't important, Amalek says, I have entry into you because that's how it begins. That's how it begins. And I'm like, bichlal, I'm not planning on lityaches to these articles that came out. One specifically was really, really triggering to me. But I realized that Amalek wants us to start fighting over these things. It's not inyanim that we have to even give any chashivus, any tiachasut to. The sveikus, like he says over here, in the left corner, on the left side, va'al kulana asher karcha, b'hatilo sveikus be'emunasam b'hashgacha pratis. The war of Amalek is a war over hashgacha pratis, not a war of does God exist or not. It's a war over is he involved in every single thing. Every single aspect of life. Shechas v'sholom yomru ki ach mikre kara v'lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu pa'al kol zos b'hashgacha pratis medukdekes al kol bria u'bria. So that God forbid you don't come to the conclusion that Amalek wants you to come to, because Amalek comes and says to you, it's okay to believe in God. Just don't think that there's really an intimate relationship here. That's not what it's about. And look at the real prestigious Rabbanim, that they'll also believe. They also believe in this. You know, the voice was, if you're really smart, you'll see. Real smart and intellectually developed people also have come to this conclusion as well. The inyan of Hashgacha and every single thing, who's holding there? Look, what does a person of prestige look like if they're holding in such an inyan of Hashgacha Pratis? Stam Manyan, one of the ways of seeing the division, the way that the Mea Shiloach and the Beis Yaakov and the Sod Yesharim, Tiferes Yosef, all the lines in Ishbitzer also have a very, very clear chiluk between life of a Yid that lives with Hashgacha Klalis versus Hashgacha Pratis. And is there such a thing called Hashgacha Pratis by non-Jewish people? Or is that a thing that's just shayach to Am Yisrael? And that Hashgacha Klalis really is the way that Umos HaOlam relate to the Rebbeinu Shalom. And in Ishbitzer, it's a very interesting mahalach that he says there. We touch upon it sometimes in Shabbos morning. Here, what he's saying is the klipa is called klipa of against Hashgacha Pratis. And he's going to prove this. Now look what he says. Ucheneged klipa zot tzivsa Torah. The Torah says clearly in Parshas Ki Tetzah, we're going to read tomorrow, Timcheh es zecher Amalek la'akor me'ashoresh machsheves pigul zo, to uproot from the source this machshava of pigul. Pigul. How would you say pigul in English?
Disgusting. It's from a korban, right?
It's from pigul hu lo yirotze, right? Pigul is this disgusting, repulsive thought is what he calls it. Moshe Rabbeinu Tiferes Shmuel. Who's the Tiferes Shmuel? Anyone remember? Alexander. Tiferes Shlomo is the Radomsker. Tiferes Shmuel is Alexander. Moshe Rabbeinu Tiferes Shmuel Schus Yogen Aleinu is the brother of the Alexander Rebbe, and he was also a Rebbe in his own right. It says in the pasuk, Timcheh zecher Amalek. Where are you supposed to wipe out Amalek from? Mitachas haShamayim. What's the inyan of Mitachas haShamayim? That's what he says here. Timcheh et zichro shel Amalek, wipe out Amalek, umamshichei darko, and the ones that continue his derech, which today he has plenty of shluchim in the world. Somehow they choose to congregate amongst us. Ha'omrim, those people that are mamshichei darko shel Amalek, second line on the left column, ha'omrim shekola nasa behai alma, nasa me'elav mitachas haShamayim. It's gewalt. This is amazing. He's saying, this is the diuk. Those, Amalek says, everything that happens in this world happens in a place that's called Mitachas haShamayim, which would come to mean that what? Bediuk. Mitachas haShamayim can't have any inyan of Hashgacha Pratis. Only me'al haShamayim is Hashgacha Pratis. So Amalek says, so the Torah comes and commands us, we're Timcheh zecher Amalek mitachas haShamayim, right? Because they say, no. It's only about mitachas haShamayim. Me'al haShamayim, maybe Avram Avinu, or maybe they'll say anytime Hashem revealed himself to someone individually in the Torah. Since then, bichlalo, and all the ramifications that come from thinking like that are beyond this world. Ve'ein hashgacha elyona al kol prat uprat. There's no hashgacha. Now look down at footnote Beis. Ke'ein ze itamar Rav Kodosh imrei emes. So the son of the Svas emes. Al pasuk it says tirdof be'af v'tashmidem mitachat shmei Hashem sheyesh lirdof ulahashmid es hamachshava. You have to. What does it mean that you have to go out and wipe out the enemy? It means, now we're speaking spiritually, it means a person must hunt down and completely eradicate sheyesh lirdof ulahashmid es hamachshava, the thought that says shekol hanasa bezeh ha'olam hu rak mitachas shmei Hashem ve'eino mevin she'akol me'elokim asher b'shamayim mima'al al pi siba v'tam ha'elyon. I never thought that it would be so crucial in Am Yisrael's time to differentiate, not to differentiate, but to de-differentiate, to bring back together Hashgacha Pratis and Hashgacha Klalis. Like this would be a yesod of emunah right now. That we're boiling down to a place at this moment of, could it be that I happen to be in the generation that is about to experience Be'ezrat Hashem something, Amen Ken Yiratzon, something that's going to bring down Hashem Shechina into the world, Be'ezrat Hashem? Could it be that it just happened to be that I'm lucky that I got here? What does it do to me when I stop and think, Hashem wanted you and I to be alive right now, to experience all that's been in planning for thousands and thousands of years? So Amalek says, don't get so, it happens to be you worked out that you're now. Why? Because your parents met at a certain time and that's what happened. No, it's a completely. When I come to shul with that machshava, when I show up to my Shabbos table with that machshava, the tikkun of it, I'm saying I have to be around now to Mekayim mitzvahs now, the way that what's going on right now in the world. I feel so bad for a person that has no shaykhs to that energy, because to them it's like it's cool that I'm here. Could have happened to anybody.
As Tom said, we're all handpicked.
And Tom is the master of instilling within us Hashgacha Pratis. Someone came, who was it? Someone I was speaking to a few weeks ago, and they saw a picture of Tom in the office, and they weren't from here, and they said, I had one, this is amazing. He said, I had one interaction with that guy on the wall. It was named Tom, right? Like, yeah. It's like, he told me about, I couldn't understand exactly, but he somehow was conveying to me that he wanted me to feel that I'm hand-picked or something. Did he talk like that? Mamish, that's what they said to me. Hand-picked? Hand-picked. Like, it came off like Kederech Agav. He's the master of killing Amalek. His whole thing is Timcheh zecher mitachat haShamayim. His whole thing is like this. But Amalek asher korcha baderech, like Yossi was alluding to last night, sometimes we get used to things, and then it cools us off. We can be part of the coolest things in the world, and the second we get used to it, Amalek says, Yesh li gisha, I have access. back up on top. Ein lanu, this is a very basic Yesod de Torah from Rav Biderman. Ein lanu ela lehashrish, I love this word. Lehashrish bekirbeinu. We're still on Daf Gimel. Lehashrish bekirbeinu. To root in our midst, deep down inside, shekol asher ye'ore ba'olam, bein letav, bein lemutav, hakol nasa bidvar HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And like we learned 2 years ago, the only shaila we have to ask is not when it comes down to things that I have to say, also Hashgacha Pratis, that hurt me, that rip out my heart and soul, that weaken me, that make me feel like a lo yutzlach, that make me feel poor, that make me feel horrible, is not asking Hashem why. It's changing the shva, the patach to a shva. Lama to lema. That's it. That's the whole avodah that's left. Remember how I want to remind everyone how we started learning that Torah based on a Torah from Rav Kluger on Purim, that Esther Amalka, it says in Tehillim, she was the one that was saying when the Gzeira was still seemed like it was the end of Am Yisrael. Keli lama azavtani, and Rav Kluger said that she didn't say lama azavtani. Esther Amalka doesn't say lama azavtani. She was saying, I'm a Malka. My tafkid is ka'as lema azavtani. For what are you giving me the feeling that you left me? For what? There's got to be a deeper reason there. There's Hashgacha Pratis reason in everything. That's the whole thing. So again, bein letav bein lemutav, hakol nasa bidvar HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hayoshev b'shamayim mimal, umanig esoylama b'chol tzad v'shal. That the Eibishter, the scripter, it is meduyak. It's meduyak. The things that cool us off are the questions of why. No one's ever gotten, by the way, I don't think anyone's ever received an answer that satiates their why. You don't want to know why. You want to know for what.
Ashrei am
shekacha lai. Right. Well, Lama Yomru Hagoyim. I was at a Shiva house once in the Golan. Nebuch, a mother of 5, passed away from cancer. Our dear friend, Rav Shmuel Goldman, and his wife, Lisa, she passed away, and I was sitting at the Shiva, drove up in Moshav Yonatan. I got to the end of when one of these local Golan farmers was sitting there, and he said, and it wasn't like, he didn't have a lot, you could tell like there wasn't a lot going on in the conversation, but basically the guy was like, it was time to leave. Now, leaving Shiva houses is the most awkward thing in the world. I don't know if you noticed. You're not sure what to do. The leaving of a Shiva house is very uncomfortable. You get up, the person can't really get up to greet you. Someone's talking, but you get up, you have to say a sentence and leave, right? So the guy was like, Chma, Lama Yomru Hagoyim. Ashrei am shekacha lo. Hamok minachem eschem esoshav yitzim shnayim. It was epic. It was so Israeli also, you know. It was epic. It was just like, and then he walked away, and I'm like, okay, I'm here now, you know. Ubechol inyan ve'inyan anasa b'zeh ha'olam, regarding everything that happens in this world. Ki ein adam nogea b'muchan lechavero im lo huchraz ken mefurash mimal. Rav Biderman's going back to Parnasa, like he did last week with Baruch HaGever, and he does with every single Shabbos. V'gam kol mezonosav shel adam ktsuvin lo mirosh Hashana ve'ein adam marviach o mafsid. Obviously, when we talk about Hashgacha Pratis, our mind generally goes to, you want to tell me that the money that I'm making or not making is also Hashgacha Pratis? Because that's en ma lasot. We're in this world. Adam la'amal yulad, bezeh asapecha tocha lechem. And money's on our mind all the time. I have a friend, he checks his bank account right after, or maybe before, Moida Ani, every single day. It's not going to change anything, but it's just an inyan that we have because we're in this world. This is, we have a shaykhis to this in this world. So Rav Biderman is saying over here, it was already, you could keep on checking, and you may see changes that make you happy or that make you sad. All these things were already decreed in Rosh Hashanah. Matzliach o lo yutzlach, im lo nigba min haShamayim. Af lo yazuz kash o teven, im lo tziva lem hamelech, lecha hine or hine. Meaning, anything, even a little bit of straw that goes into your cheshbon, or that goes out of your cheshbon, is also part of the whole zach. Me'achem. And therefore, so Rav Biderman now says, what's the weapon? Klei haneshek limchos es Amalek eino ela bechizuk haemunah hatahara. This is for people that are not in Chel Avir, in the Air Force. Their tzivui of, their neshek of milchem es Amalek is drop the bomb. Meaning, let's be clear, like this, we're done with the era of Yidden suffering like nebuchs, and all we have to do is be thrown into a shul and tied up there, and then put in, and then what's the avodah? Just scream to Hashem. No,
They're not tachas haShamayim.
right. They're bediuk. Now we're in a place of you don't mess. Hopefully, Be'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach. It's amazing. As long as it's all a matter of what side of the bed Achashverosh wakes up in the morning. That has all the ramifications to today. And then the shaila is, well, who's Mordechai Yehudi? That's it. Here he's saying over here, the kli neshek, the weapon to wipe out Amalek today, eino ela bechizuk emunah ta'ira. It's strengthening pure emunah peshutah, emunah peshutah, simple faith, that there's a script, and there's someone that wrote the script, and everything is exactly the way it should be. Uchedichtiv milchemet Amalek. And then it comes, now we're going to go to Beshalach's Amalek. Because up until now we were quoting from Kitetz's Amalek. Now we're going back to Beshalach's Amalek. It says there, V'haya kasher yari Moshe es yado kasher yari Moshe yado v'gavar Yisrael. We know who was standing on each side. Aaron and Chur, right? Chur, Rav Shlomo said, Aaron, you need to have the master of love holding up one side of Moshe Rabbeinu's arms, and Chur means that your heart is broken until you didn't stop suffering. They have these two sides holding up the tzaddik's hands. That's how we daven. It's Gevalt, Aaron and Chur. And the Gemara says, the famous Gemara of Shoshana says, V'chi yadav shel Moshe says milchama, o shovras milchama. What, Moshe Rabbeinu's hands? So? Moshe Rabbeinu's hands is what's dictating the progress, the outcome. Ela lo malecha kol zman shayu Yisrael mistakling klape mala me'al haShamayim. As long as Moshe Rabbeinu was directing me to a place called me'al haShamayim with his hands, because the Gemara there says, and the Midrash talks about this, Moshe Rabbeinu was situated on a mountaintop. He would be looking down at the Yidden during war, and he would get chizuk to keep on davening, but from the angle they were fighting Amalek, they could see him on the mountaintop davening. And it caused them to look where he's pointing his hands to, even higher and higher, right? So again, B'chiyadav shel Moshe osos milchama o shovros milchama, ela lo ma'alecha kol zman she'u Yisrael mistakling klape mala, u'mishabdin es libam lavim shebashamayim, hayu mizgabrim v'im lav hayu noflim. If you were in touch with me'al haShamayim, you were winning. If you weren't looking at Moshe Rabbeinu and you were stuck in Mitachas haShamayim, you'd be losing. This is a tikkun gaiva for the Zionist entity that we've been talking about in here for 2.5 years. It must come to a state, to a being, in a place, for a tikkun for the world of tzionut, that we keep on fighting strong with our eyes towards me'al haShamayim, not just Mitachas haShamayim. V'al kach nemar, last paragraph, we're ending with this. V'al kach nemar lo tishkach. You should never forget it. Shebechol eis v'chol shah mitzuvim anu lilchom ba'amalek. How? Al yidei shenistakel klape mala. One time, Rav Shlomo was walking, I think I told you this, he was walking in Yerushalayim, in the area of Ben Yehuda, that area, and one of the alleyways in Shlom Tzion or something, and someone said, Shlomo, right, from far. And because of the alleyway, like the reverb of, so he went like this. He looked up for a second. Someone saw him looking up for a second, right? People that are tuned into Me'al haShamayim are not so shocked if they get a calling, right? Like this. Well, last time someone called your name, you weren't sure where it came from, and you looked up, right? So here, I mean, it's kilu b'derech tzachos. It's like, you know, a little funny, everything, but the pnimius of that is it can't get deeper. We're here mitzuvim fighting Amalek al yidei shenistakel klapei mala, by looking, gazing upwards, v'namin, to believe shekol ha'koros oisanu. Everything that happens with us, hem b'hashgacha miyuchedes, b'cheshbon nifla me'es avinu ro'enu. The only problem is that when we try to understand the calculation, we already are stuck in a place of mitachas haShamayim.
That's melech cheshbon.
And that's mamish melech cheshbon, 100%. Although we never did we ever like try to find Sichon and Amalek's relationship? Because it would make a lot of sense, based on what you just said, a lot of sense. Interesting. Ve'ein mi sheyesh biyado lomar shekoach HaKadosh Baruch Hu mimenu ki bechol eis eino pkucha al kol ishem miYisrael lehitiva lachzika. You know, any other people that would have been in the state that we've been in with this limbo, especially this last week or two, would have freaked out. And tried to get out of here. And it's funny, one of the lead singers of Am Yisrael is about to board a plane with his band for some really good gigs that are very givalt mazonos. But he knew that Ribono Shel Olam already decreed on Rosh Hashanah how much he's going to make this year. He was about to get on the plane with the whole band, Yishai Ribo, and Mamish, in the airport, not like, should I go into the cab taking me to the airport? And he just stopped, he just checked out. The whole band turned around. What other people like this? It's people of Me'al haShamayim. Mitachas haShamayim is a different story. I give us a bracha, this Shabbos, this Purim. It's on the Eivish, it's not... If the Ribono Shel Olam wants it to be that the whole thing gets mamish like we're hoping for, Amen Kein Yeh Ratzon. You're stuck with us forever, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ben kach uvein kach. Like when we're not going, if we've been together till now, it's not going to be like, oh, it didn't happen the way we want. That's going to change our minds, right? We're in this together forever, but Hashem, please give us the koyach to be Me'al haShamayim Yidden. Me'al haShamayim Yidden, and Mitachas haShamayim should be wiped out from the face of this earth. Just Das Elokim all over the world. Umala Aretz De'as Hashem Kamayim Liyam Echasim. Ashreinu. Good Shabbos, everyone.